Welcome to the fourth episode of the Leen Podcast. In this episode, myself and Paudie take a look at all things supplement related. We create a tier list of supplements, ranking them from the supplements that can be the most beneficial to your routine to the supplements that we feel are a complete utter waste of money. These supplements range from the likes of protein and creatine to vitamin C, magnesium and zinc. We also reflect on our time spent on Challenge 24, which we completed last week, and share any insights that we've taken going forward. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we encourage you to share this across Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. Alright, episode 4 of the Leen Podcast is finally here. I'd say we've gone through so many reruns and so many takes trying to record this. I actually just recorded an intro where I cited the exact same thing, but the audio was all out of sync there as well. So the podcasting world really doesn't want us to come back and make this fourth episode, but they can't stop us. You know, there's no stopping the grind, and we're here back for episode 4. We've managed to get through a full lockdown. Lockdown's actually ending tomorrow. That 5k restriction is going to be gone, so there'll be even more opportunities for content, more opportunities to get out and train. Recording here on a Sunday afternoon now, so prime time for training. What did you get up to today, Paudie? What sort of training did you do this morning?
Usual Sunday. Today was just push day, so I did a bit of bench press, some shoulder press, a few log lifts with just a DIY log that I've done. Trying to get that strongman training in. Did a few just accessories like lateral raises and push-ups and stuff. Typical Sunday morning. Then just a small bit of cardio because the winter bulk is over. Gotta try and get in some sort of shape, especially with lockdown lifted now, or the 5k lifted, going to the beach and stuff. Don't really want to look like a strong man, with all that extra weight at the beach.
Yeah, you'll make Eddie Hall look like a mug. Don't worry, you'll have him completely sorted. But today's episode, we're getting into the nutrition side of things. We're taking a bit of a deep dive there. We're looking at all things supplements. So we're actually going to create a tier list with the supplements. Myself and Paudie actually haven't discussed what supplements are going into what tiers yet. So I'm actually quite excited now to see what Paudie's takes are on everything and see if we can settle the debate on what supplements you need in your routine and what's going to really help you get that summer cut going and just get you beach ready, I suppose, as Paudie was saying. Also, as we mark the end of lockdown, we also mark the end of Challenge 24, which ended last week. We meant to record soon after, but life just gets in the way. But Challenge 24 is over. I don't want to harp on about that too much because that'll be 4 episodes of Challenge 24. But Paudie, what, if anything, would you keep in your routine after completing Challenge 24 over Lent?
Definitely the cold showers, number one priority. That's going to stay definitely for summer. Like if I thought they were nice in the last couple of months when it was freezing, they're going to be unbelievable in summer. So I'm keeping that. I have to keep the 5 a day. I think this is probably the first time that I got 30 consecutive days where I had my 5 fruit or veg. And I'll be keeping the stretching, the mobility in. I won't be keeping the meditation in. Not a huge fan. Got to keep the reading. That's kind of it.
Yeah, the reading's a crucial one. I need to get that back into my routine. I nearly faded towards the end as well. But yeah, definitely the cold showers as well. Really, really does get the day going. And I found stretching actually was just phenomenal. I was so surprised because I never was a man that would really rate the stretching too highly. But like, I just find in training now I'm just a bit looser, able to really get through the training now and just take a lot more now that I've started stretching, getting that bit of yoga in. But nobody wants to hear about Challenge 24 anymore. We need to get into all things supplements, and we're here with the tier list. So Paudie can't actually see the tier list now, but hopefully you'll all be able to see this tier list if you're watching on YouTube. If you're not and you're on Spotify, don't worry. We'll describe it quite clearly, hopefully, so that you'll understand where we're going with it. But with the 5 tiers, the top tier is the GOAT tier. We're not talking about goats as in the animal, it's the greatest of all time. Then we've got the essentials, something that you definitely need to look at having in your wardrobe, having in your supplement routine. Just have it handy. They can be quite handy to take your training to that next level. And then the next ones are useful. So they have their uses. They're not completely useless, but they're just a bit average. And then we get into supplements that are a bit of a waste of money. You're just being sold a bit of a lie, really. And then we get into the harmful supplements. These supplements will have no benefit. If anything, they're just going to be negative, and they'll either affect you negatively in terms of your physical training or in terms of your mental views on yourself and your overall nutrition. And it can just create really negative attitudes. Was there any particular supplement you wanted to start off with, Paudie, or will I just get into it?
I suppose, you're the nutritionist, so you start getting into it. But I only have one in the gold tier now, and only one in the harmful one. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you have where.
Yeah, I actually, if I'm being 100% honest with you, I haven't even thought which one is in which tier. It's something that I kind of think comes a bit intuitively. I did think about them when I was going through it, but I'm actually very curious to see now, Paddy. Maybe to start on a high. What do you consider to be the GOAT? What's in your GOAT tier?
So the only supplement I have in the GOAT tier, and it's one of the few supplements actually on our list that I've taken, and that's creatine. I think it's just in the GOAT tier because it's a step up from protein, and it's one of the most researched supplements. There's very few side effects, if any, and they're not very severe either. So I think, would you agree with me in saying it's a healthy or a safe supplement to take?
I'm glad to see that there's consensus on the first supplement anyway, because I was very much fearing that you were going to go out on a limb there and say protein was in the GOAT tier. Creatine is
No.
definitely something I think belongs in the GOAT tier. I actually, funnily enough, didn't trust creatine at all until the last year or so. I used to just think there was so much stigma about it. For some reason, I thought it was some sort of performance enhancing drug. And I remember, you just hear, the general type of talk down the gym. I remember I used to work in a gym out in Ballincollig, and everyone used to say that, it would destroy your kidneys and that your body would be ruined after it. And it was like taking testosterone. And I really thought it was, really dangerous thing. And once I started reading studies on it, there's very little reported side effects with it, and the benefits really do outweigh the negatives. Do you want to tell everyone what creatine does, Paudie, or I can get into it? I don't mind either way.
So, the main ones, I suppose it's a great supplement for powerlifting, like the sport I'm in now. But the main benefits from it is it helps muscles produce energy during heavy lifting or high intensity exercise. So just like when I take creatine, obviously, you'd have it in phases. So maybe 8 or 9 weeks on, 8 or 9 weeks on, and then you might have to take a couple of weeks off. It helps to gain muscle, enhance strength, and improve exercise performance overall. And as I said, it's probably one of the most researched supplements with very few side effects. I've never experienced any side effects from it. I saw that some of the potential ones were like bloating and diarrhea, but never experienced any of that. So overall, it is the core supplement.
Yeah, I would say that in terms of side effects, you can get a bit of water retention at the start as well. That's something to not be overlooked. It doesn't affect everyone at the same time, but a lot of times people will put on that bit of weight straight away, but it's just water weight. It's nothing to fret about. As well, it does look like it kind of puts a small bit of strain in your kidneys in a way that I used to find that it just make me need to go to the toilet from that water retention, just because your kidneys are under that bit of stress. But even creatine's so tied with power based exercise, there can be benefits to taking it in endurance exercise. You're increasing the amount of energy in your cells, which is just going to help your cell be more efficient, and help your muscles can be more efficient. So you will have that extra bit of energy for training. And I've actually started using creatine myself as a runner. It's not for helping me strength wise, but I think we can definitely agree that creatine's quite an interesting supplement. As Paudie was saying, there's loading phases factor in there too, but you don't need to do that either. You could just take 3 to 5 grams a day. Make sure you're taking with carbohydrate too. It's going to increase the absorption. But I'm sure we could have episodes and episodes on creatine. We won't get into it too much now. Paudie, what is in the harmful tier? What have you relegated all the way down there?
So I'm sure there's a lot more harmful supplements, but one on the list of ones we're going to talk about now that I thought is quite harmful is fat burners. I think there's no substitute really for proper diet and exercise. Fat burners, there's no point in really, and if anything, they're going to have severe side effects rather than benefiting you in any form.
Yeah, 100% agree there. One thing I tie in with fat burners straight away then is like the diet pills. They're 6 in one, half the other. They're very similar things. Like you even find them on reputable sites like the likes of Whey Protein. I was having a look at it yesterday. I was quite shocked to see it too. A lot of the times, all the ingredients are going to be green tea extract and caffeine. If you really want to get that, go down to Lidl, get yourself some caffeine, or get yourself some green tea for 90 cents. Have that then, but it's going to have a really marginal effect. All it's going to do is slightly increase the thermic energy of food, which is basically you're going to burn slightly more calories. It's not going to make fat just fall off of you. You're really being sold a lie with them. And that can create really negative attitudes toward food as well. And that like taking meal replacement pills and taking fat burners is really going to like make up for having poor habits and a poor routine. It's not like you're really just being sold this magic formula. And I've seen so many like stories online of people getting really like bad effects from taking dodgy diet pills that they got off of the likes of Herbalife and stuff online. Scientists say well clear of, but it's something that does seem so clear to stay clear of, but people still do get into it because you can really be enticed. And I suppose if you're talking to someone from like a higher position of knowledge on a subject, you really can sell them anything that you do need. But they're the only two really I think would be like essentially harmful. One thing, Paudie, I would nearly put in the GOAT tier myself for all of those living in Ireland would be vitamin D3. What would be your thoughts on that, Paudie? Where did you have that?
Well, I had vitamin D3 in Essentials, so just a step down from the GOAT. I just had it there really because I wanted to just put creatine in an absolute class of its own. Vitamin D3 it's unreal. Like it, the benefits are endless. But is vitamin D what they're telling people to have now for your immune system because of COVID? Like, is it supposed to prevent that?
Vitamin D is what they studied with that. I was very much a skeptic with that originally. I did read those papers on it. What it seems to be the case is that like vitamin D, it's if you're deficient in it, you're way more likely to get adverse symptoms of COVID rather than like if you take vitamin D, you will have less of a chance of getting COVID. It's more so that like if you're deficient in vitamin D, it's going to increase your risk of like having bad outcomes with coronavirus. And like one thing I would say is that vitamin D deficiency though is quite prevalent, especially in Ireland. Basically, vitamin D comes from the sun and we don't get quite a lot of it, not to the extent that we need either to actually produce enough vitamin D in our bodies, especially throughout winter. As Paudie says it there, might be something I'd class as essential because it's not like taking vitamin D when you're not deficient has any particular benefits to it. What vitamin D does, just to kind of run through it, I'm actually going to throw it into the essentials tier. I think Paudie's kind of convinced me there because it is something that you do need to have in your routine, but I don't think it's like this magic vitamin. It does get painted that way, but it's because so many of us are actually deficient in it. What vitamin D does though is it helps you to absorb calcium, so it increases your calcium absorption. And it has also been shown that people that are like deficient in vitamin D also have lower testosterone, and having like adequate vitamin D levels does help to increase your levels of testosterone, which is very important when you're training. If you're training in like a power-based sport like Paudie is, or if you're training in the likes of an endurance-based sport, you're going to need testosterone to fuel your training and help your muscles perform to the best of their ability. Obviously, maybe we could put testosterone in the harmful tier if you're supplementing with that, but I don't think there's many people out there testosterone supplements, and they really shouldn't be either.
So just there with vitamin D as well, like rather than supplementing it, of course the supplement is great, but you can get it from certain foods as well. And I'd say Ben would agree, it's always better to get the vitamin or the mineral from a food itself rather than supplementing it. So you can get vitamin D from red meat, fish and egg yolks as well. So, of course, if you're eating enough fish or red meat, of course, a lot of red meat isn't too good for you either, and a lot of egg yolks aren't too good for you as well. But if you're getting, enough of it, then you might not need to supplement vitamin D. But at the same time, it kind of depends on the individual, doesn't it? If you have a deficiency.
Yeah, I would say like with vitamin D, it is one of those vitamins that's a bit lower in food as well. Like there is a small bit in meat, but like yeah, it's mainly in egg yolk and fish, but it's still something like that is something you should consider supplementing maybe. One thing with the supplements as well that you touched on that I think is very important is that supplements aren't like these magic vitamins that you can take. They're really going to take you to the next level. Like supplements should only really like help to complete and make sure that you're getting everything in your diet. Like if you look up like the definition of a supplement, it's just something that you add to something to help improve it. So you're just supplementing your diet really. Like you really need to make sure you're getting all these vitamins in your diet. The reason the likes of creatine you'd consider in the goat supplement list is because it's not something that you can really get from food. It's something that you really can only really get from supplements, and that like we don't get enough creatine in our diets to like get that bit of a benefit from it. One thing that is quite readily available in our diets that is a very popular supplement, and it's something that we eat every day, is protein, more specifically whey protein. I think it's one of the first supplements many people actually end up taking or end up using. It's probably one of the most widely taken supplements, and it's probably the supplement that probably has the biggest industry behind it. What are your thoughts on whey protein, Paudie? Where would you stack that into the list?
I've stacked whey protein as useful. Like I know it is, it's used by a lot of people, but at the same time you can get protein from a lot of foods, and I do prefer to get my protein from foods rather than a whey protein supplement. Also, like one huge benefit of whey protein is that you get a lot of protein with fewer calories. So if you are, say, cutting or on a lower calorie diet, where you're trying to keep your protein high, then the supplement is great. But it is in a lot of foods. I probably started taking whey protein when I was about 17, which isn't a bad age to start, I don't think. What age did you start?
I'd say I was about 18. Again, it was one of those things that I thought like taking protein was dangerous for some reason when I was younger. I don't know, is it you see all these like bodybuilders taking it and you think there's like some stigma behind it, but like protein is just isolated from milk. Like it's just the whey proteins. One advantage to that there as well is that like whey protein is really like easily digested by your body, so it's just going to be absorbed quickly. That can be a benefit of taking protein, I suppose. Just you're getting the protein in quickly, and it's a quick and easy way to get protein in after a workout. But as Paudie was saying, I wouldn't put protein any higher than useful in the tier list as well. It's actually quite funny. We've agreed on most things here, but most people like worry so much about getting enough protein in their diet, but most people get more than enough protein in their diet. Like I was actually looking at the Irish National Adult Survey that basically looked at the average intakes of adults in Ireland, and the average intake for protein for men was 100 grams per day. But like people only need, unless you're an athlete, and most people aren't athletes, you'll only need 0.83 grams per kg of protein. And I was looking at that as well. So like the average weight of a man in Ireland is 80 kg. So most people will only need about 65, 70 grams of protein per day, and the average intake is 100 grams per day. Like there can be this focus, especially I think for like yourself, Paudie, in like the strength and conditioning exercise lane, there's quite a bit of a focus on protein, and there can be a bit too much of a focus on it as well. Like protein is just going to help your muscles grow. It's not going to give you energy. What are your thoughts today?
Like even, I have my nutrition plan now off you that I follow, and you did. Like I'd never had any nutrition advice before yourself, Ben, but you did see I was consuming way too much protein. I don't know, was I consuming upwards of about 150 grams? Was it around maybe 170 so. Even? I consume, but I was having, I was supplementing with protein powder, and I wasn't, even though I was eating a lot of protein and protein fills you up, I wasn't full. I could still keep eating. So since I've swapped out maybe one of my scoops of protein powder a day with, say, chicken or eggs or whatever, I feel way better from getting it from actual food. Like I feel a lot fuller as well. So that's one thing, that too much protein is quite bad for you. And as well, it's kind of useless getting too much, because you can only absorb
Yeah,
so
you
much.
can only absorb so much. Like any excess protein is just either going to get excreted or it's just going to be stored as fat, really, because your body only needs so much protein, and it's not a great energy source either. And like as you were saying there, it's not just yourself, Paudie. I've seen it with so many people I've dealt with and so many people I've spoken to. Like there can be such a focus in the health and fitness industry, even on like high protein foods, and like you see like high protein yogurts and high protein bars. Like that's something I actually put into the supplement tier list. I don't think we were discussing it originally, that like protein bars are something that are all over the place now. If you go into like little Super Value, Aldi, they've replaced the sweet section of the like shop when you're going out to checkout with just protein bars and stuff. And like, yeah, they can be useful, but like they're not this like bar that's like a super bar that's like really, really, really healthy for you. Like they are just whey protein enriched chocolate bars, but they also do get a bad rap. Like what would you, if you were to on the spot now, Paudie, where would you rank them in the tier list?
Probably a waste of money. Those protein bars, $2.50 is it $2.50 for a bar? When you could buy something else, buy a roll or something, I don't know, a roll, or I'd even rather buy a chocolate bar. If you're going to buy a bar, like I'm going to have a chocolate bar, not a protein bar, and I'll have my protein some other way. Like they're just way too expensive, and I don't think they taste great either. There's very few that taste good. Like I know there's an M&M one that's nice, but there's a lot of sugar.
Yeah, they're just glorified chocolate bars at the end of the day. Like I do think they get a bad rap. Like there's nothing wrong with them to say, but if they're going to help you get a quick source of protein in after your workout, much like protein powder, like I'd say they are useful that way. But at the end of the day, like if you're looking for a healthy option in the shop and you're just looking for a quick snack, you'd be much better off getting like a banana. And even if you want to get a chocolate bar with that, probably going to be getting the same amount of calories. Probably going to be getting more fiber as well because you're getting a bit of fruit into you. Like they're not all that. But moving on from the whey protein side of things, maybe keeping on the focus of protein though, I have pea protein down. I think it's something that I'd classify as quite useful just for any plant-based athletes out there. Not that I would necessarily say it's better than the likes of whey protein, because it's actually worse than whey protein is. What would be your thoughts on that, Paudie? Would you kind of be in a line there?
I wouldn't have much to say about pea protein. Like I've never tried it. The only protein I've went for, of course, is whey protein. But I don't know enough on it.
So, like, what I'd say about pea protein is that it is better to take whey protein. But obviously, if you've decided for yourself that you're going to follow a plant-based diet, like pea protein is probably like one of the better proteins you can be taking. It does have every amino acid in it, but it's quite low in methionine. So you do need to make sure that you're getting protein from other sources, whether that's like a pea protein and brown rice blend. That could be a very good option for you, but it is quite easily digested. Soya protein is more easily digested than pea protein, I would say, though. That's something to look out for. But it's just a nice alternative to whey protein, although whey protein is better in terms of amino acid content. And if you're looking at digestibility, there was something you were saying to me, Paudie, about the difference between taking protein with water and protein with milk. Is that something you want to get into there?
So just the difference between taking protein, whether it's like whey or soy or pea protein, water, milk, is like with milk, it's you digest milk quicker than water. But as well as we were saying that if you're taking with milk, of course, there's more protein in that than water. Of course, there's 0 grams of protein in water. You can only digest so much protein at a time. So like if you're having your scoop of protein, if there's 22, 23 grams of protein in it, Ben, you were saying how much protein can you digest?
So like
really?
The optimum amount to get in is 20 to 30 grams. Any more than that, you've got too much, and any less than that, you don't have enough to get that repair in.
So like if you're having it with milk, obviously if your scoop of protein is 22, 23 grams, and if you're having say 200 or 300 mils of milk, that could be an extra 10 grams. You know, you're in excess, you're gone in over the 30 grams there. So really the milk, of course, extra calories if you're bulking, but I always have mine with water. Like I don't, if I'm going to have milk, like I'll have milk say 2 hours later. So you're not having too much protein at one time. As well, just some small benefits with milk is it stops the protein from going all clumpy. like you see there sometimes if you shake with water, you find clumps and it just doesn't taste great. And the milk
Yeah,
just tastes
stop.
nice.
I'm firmly in team milk over here. I can't hack my protein with water. It's just very the taste now it just wouldn't be for me whatsoever. Like the milk is just so much more whole. Like you can nearly make like a milkshake. And like as you were saying there, like when you mix it with water, sometimes it can be very clumpy, and that's just not nice for anyone. Like I'm firmly on team milk anyway. But for getting on to flavour, Paudie, what flavour protein are you going for?
Oh, I'd say I've gotten a free sample of Malteser protein, and I've been meaning to get a bag of it ever since. I think it's on HP Nutrition. The Malteser one is on the Protein Works, and it was unbelievable. But other than that, I do love strawberry cream, and I'm yet to find a nice peanut butter one. I got the My Protein peanut butter one from like the Optimum range, and it was disgusting. It was probably one of the worst proteins powders I've ever had. So if anyone has like nice chocolate peanut butter protein powders recommendations out there, please tell me, because peanut butter is like my favorite food in the whole world. And then as well, of course, vanilla is nice. Chocolate's grand.
Yeah, I think like the protein companies really do go overboard with the sweetener sometimes. Sometimes it's just overpowering, especially with like the peanut, or if you ever get into the cookies and cream side of things, it's always nice that first time. And like if you're getting a 2.5 kg bag of it, like you're about 2 months down the line and you're completely sick of it.
Never ever buy 5 kilos of protein or 2.5 kilos of protein. It's just, I got, I think it was 2 Christmases ago, I got 5 kilos of chocolate orange protein, and it was nice. I'm pretty sure I have like 1.5 kilos left. I haven't touched it in about 6 months.
Paudie's
You just
selling
get sick
protein
of it.
there if anyone's looking. Trying to offload that protein. Gotta make your sales. But yeah, I'm firmly in chocolate mint team since day one. Like I'm not leaving. I'm firmly there. Like I think you can't go wrong with chocolate as well. Just very neutral flavor, something that you're gonna just hack for a long time, because I'm in it with the bulk. Like I just want to get my protein and just have it available for the next few months. Then one thing as well actually to look for when you're getting your protein, getting back onto the serious side of things, is to make sure that your protein is batch tested. If your protein's not batch tested, and if you are like trying to compete at a competitive level, you don't know what it could be contaminated with. And like in the most case, it won't be contaminated with anything. But just because, say, with cows, when they get treated with steroids on the farm, like that can easily transfer over into your protein, especially if it's not tested. Sometimes you see with like cows on the farm, like they'll be given steroids for all sorts of different reasons. And if the protein isn't tested afterwards, that can transfer over into the protein very rarely. But you just don't want to be taking that chance with your supplements, especially if supplements are handled in areas where they might be contaminated with, say, performance enhancing drugs. And it's very rare. But like for the sake of the extra €4 or €5, you're better to have that peace of mind and not end up with like a positive drug test down the line from taking a supplement that really wouldn't have had any real benefit to you. I think we've covered all things whey protein there anyway. Next is casein protein. Yeah, casein protein. So
Casein,
I know
yeah.
Paudie's not a fan of casein, so we might be clashing heads here. Where do you have that down, Paudie?
Well, I have it in useful. You kind of changed my mind, to be honest. I was going to put it in waste of money, because I was thinking, of course, like protein is better than casein, but I do see that it has its benefits. Like it's a slower digesting protein, so you can have it like late at night, really, and it's going to feed in your muscles through the night as well, and it boosts muscle growth and it aids recovery. So I have put it in the useful tier. I think there are a lot of pros to it. There are a few cons as well. But really, I think the pros outweigh the
Yeah,
cons.
I should have saved that debate for the podcast maybe, but definitely can be useful in that way in terms of just being a slower like releasing protein. So it's just going to be better if you take it in the evening. It's just going to give you that extra bit of protein for your muscles to help repair and grow your muscles at night. But as Paudie was saying, there are downsides to it when it is like a lower digested protein. Like if the digestibility is lower and you're trying to take it after a workout to get protein into your muscles quickly, it's not going to be great that way. Whey is going to be a better option. But there's nothing spectacular about it. Like I wouldn't put it into the essentials category. It's useful. It can be something that if you're using it in your routine, that's great. But like protein is something that does get quite overhyped. It's not something that you need in your routine. Like you could just as well get like a protein bar even, or some food that's high in protein in after your workout, and you're going to get the same benefit. One thing as well with protein is to make sure you get some carbohydrates in with it straight after it, because it's just going to help to absorb the protein a bit better, and your muscles are just going to have more access to that protein, which is going to help your recovery a bit more. So nice little pro tip from the podcast there. One thing we might get into in another podcast episode, maybe Paudie, is like with whey protein, there's so many different types. It can be so hard to know what to get. Like there's like diet whey, there's impact whey, there's whey isolate. Like it can be quite confusing with it, and they're all varying prices as well. But from your own experience, what do you use the most?
Well, I used Mass Gainer for a while. Like it was just a variant on protein, so it was just protein, and there were carbs in it as well. I think there's creatine as well, but I do just use Impact Whey protein. I know Impact Isolate has more protein for like compared to calories, but I don't really see the point of that. Like I've never been on an extremely restricted calorie diet, so I've never used it, and I've never needed that much protein either to just go for isolate. It is a lot more expensive, but I always just go for.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, Paudie. Even if like I remember I was one of the victims to buying diet whey protein off My Protein for years and years, and then it took me quite a while to realise there was actually less protein per gram, and I was just getting some green tea extract added into it, so I might as well have just gone down to Aldi, got my tea for 70 or 80 cent. But supplement companies, lads, they're not your friends a lot of the time. They are going to try sell you whatever they can get you to buy. One thing that they do try sell very recently are essential amino acids. So you're being sold a big lie if you're buying essential amino acids. In my honest opinion, they're a complete waste of money. Essential amino acids are just amino acids that are in whey protein that aren't BCAAs. And what essential amino acids are basically the amino acids your body doesn't produce naturally, and they're the amino acids your body needs in your diet, which is basically what you're going to be getting when you get protein from milk, when you get protein from chicken, when you get protein from steak. There's nothing exceptional about essential amino acids. What are your thoughts on that, Paudie?
Like I did fall into that trap. I was using BCAAs. Like I was putting it in my water and drinking it throughout my workout. But I realised as well, one huge disadvantage of BCAAs is if you looked at like price per serving, it's almost the same price as a serving of protein. And protein, a lot of like whey proteins already have the BCAAs in them. So like if you were to look at if you have a bag of protein at home, have a look at the back. There's BCAAs in the majority of them. So I'd say when I was taking the BCAAs, I was just getting an overload of it really, and it was just unnecessary. It's overpriced. Like I have it in the waste of money section, just because like it's in a lot of foods as well already, like chicken and nuts and peas and stuff, and it's in my whey protein, so I don't really have
if your whey protein doesn't have BCAAs, you need to start changing your whey protein provider, because it all should have BCAAs in it. Basically what they are is leucine, isoleucine and valine. I would say with BCAAs, I have them in the waste of money category as well as the EAAs, but they can have some uses, but I wouldn't say it's useful enough to put it in the useful category. What I would say is, like, if you're a plant-based athlete, and there's not many plant-based athletes out there, but like a lot of plant protein sources are very low in the likes of leucine, the likes of isoleucine, the likes of valine, and basically what the BCAAs do and what makes them exceptional as amino acids is they help to kickstart protein synthesis, and they are very important amino acids in kickstarting your muscle recovery and repair, but you don't need to supplement them separately. You should get a supplement that has the BCAAs in them already. As well as that, there are benefits if you're like fasting and training to like supplement with BCAAs before you get out. Just it's going to help prevent any muscle wasting while you're training, which is always going to be an advantage. But again, they're not exceptional. I wouldn't waste your money on them. There's not much to them. I see as well they like have benefits reported as like helping to increase your energy, and they're in a lot of like pre-workouts. But again, like you're better off just making sure you get enough carbohydrates in before you train. Don't waste your money on BCAAs. Is there any supplement you want to get right on today, Paudie? Or will I?
one other one I'd say, one of the only other ones that I have in the essentials is the omega-3. Like, I think I would class omega-3 as one of the essentials. You'd know a lot more on it as well, but I know it's in fish and stuff, but I don't eat enough fish to get it to get enough in. As well, I do have the chia seeds in the morning, but I still don't think I'm getting enough omega-3, so I do supplement with that. Like, it'd be one of the few supplements.
I wouldn't take omega-3 myself. In my own opinion, I'd put it in the useful category, but that's because I eat quite a bit of fish as well, and I do forget that, like, a lot of people don't like fish. A lot of people don't get that much fish in their diet. Like, omega-3 fatty acids, they're not a supplement that's going to, like, benefit your performance in any way, but it's going to help benefit your mental performance in some ways, but it is going to help your blood cholesterol as well, which is going to put you at less of a risk of developing heart disease in later life, which is something we should all strive for. Just being a lot healthier as well is just going to help your body function a lot better too. But one thing you were saying there as well, Paudie, is, like, do you know what, like the chia seeds? It's actually very interesting. The omega-3s that you get from chia seeds are different to the ones you get from fish, and they're actually not absorbed as well. So you need a lot more chia seeds to hit your omega-3 target. Like, they are useful, but it is definitely, like you were saying, you don't get enough from it, and it is important, if you're not getting enough omega-3 from your diet, to look at supplementing with omega-3. But I can see how it would be essential. I'd consider it useful, but I do agree with you there. I would nearly pop it into the essentials category there. Then if I was looking at any other supplements that I have here, I'm not sure, do you have B12 down on your list, Paudie? I might have added that as a last gasp supplement. But I would say that would be something that could be in the useful tier, especially, again, for any plant-based athletes out there. B12 isn't found naturally in plants at all. It's only in meat and dairy-based products, but it's mainly just in meat as well. So if you are a vegetarian or a vegan, you do need to supplement with B12. And that's just going to help your body function normally. You do need B12 in your diet, so it's definitely a supplement that should be in your diet, should be a staple. You should be taking that every day. Did you have any look at collagen, Paudie?
I put collagen in useful. I think it's one that I didn't actually have first. Like, I've never taken it before, but when we were researching for this episode, I did have a look at that, and I think it's a supplement that I'm considering that I'll go and buy now after looking at some of the benefits for it.
Yeah, I would say, like, collagen something I took myself last year even, and it's something that there is a lot more research on at the moment. Basically, what collagen can do for you is it can help with, like, joint pain and any tendon injuries as well. It can help increase your healing there. But what collagen is, basically, it's a protein that, like, it's the most abundant protein in our body. It helps, like, make our skin, form your skin and, like, your connective tissue, like your lips and your gums and stuff. And it's basically what vitamin C produces. But for ages, it was a supplement that most people would consider a waste of money. But there's a lot more research into it, as it, like we were saying there, with, like, the tendon injuries and stuff. And it can benefit your skin and your skin health too, which is always a positive side to it. So I'd agree with Paudie there. I'd put it into useful. I wouldn't say it's essential just yet, because a lot more research is definitely needed there.
So just one other supplement there that I have taken it a few times, but there are a lot of conflicting views on it. It's pre-workout. So, like, pre-workout has L-carnitine and beta-alanine. I did use it a few times, and I thought just the feeling from it was unbelievable. Like, I felt completely different doing a gym session. I had it in useful, but I'm starting to think that it's a waste of money, because I think if you're going to be using it every week in the gym, there's no point in that really. Like, get your like, if you're lacking energy, like, if you need to pre-workout for energy, that's not a good thing. Like, you should have enough energy to go training, whether you're lacking energy from a lack of food or maybe you're dehydrated or something, then it's useful. But I don't think I'm going to take it anymore. I would consider it maybe essential. Like, if you were competing, like, if you were doing, say, a powerlifting competition now, like, I'm definitely going to take it in my next powerlifting competition, just to get that extra edge before a lift. You know, you get the tingling feeling from the beta-alanine. But I'm gonna actually just say that it's a waste of money, because I'm not going to use it in training anymore. I'd rather just have my 1 rep maxes when I'm feeling fresh, rather than needing to force the freshness, I suppose you'd say, rather than trying to force the energy. I'd rather just use natural energy.
So here are my thoughts on that now, Paudie. I would pop it into the useful category in my own mind. And where I'd come from with that, I don't actually use pre-workout. So I don't use that for running. I'd actually find I'd get enough from coffee. And I actually do take beta-alanine as well. Mm-hmm. But when you do have like a right pre-workout, a pre-workout that works for you, it can help you to optimize your workout. And it's not something I think you need to take every day, especially if, say, you're taking pre-workout in the evening. It's going to keep you hyped up all night and you're going to have adrenaline just pumping through you, which isn't going to be great. But it can really help you to maximize your performance, especially when you are getting caffeine in, which is the most studied performance enhancing drug. And if I actually put caffeine in on its own, but it's not a supplement, I would firmly put that in the GOAT tier. I think it's actually like the one stimulant that we can get that is legal, that has the greatest impact on our performance is caffeine. I've found that I'd use caffeine before like races and before key training sessions, and it really does help to boost your performance that way. And it also helps your mental alertness. And I would say that like just because pre-workout is based off of caffeine, that it has great benefit in that way. But it's not essential in the sense that like you don't need pre-workout before every workout, like Paudie was saying. Like you can train without it, especially if you're training in the evening, and you can still get good results, and you're not going to like push your body past its limits either. Sometimes you can like misconceive like where you're at when you're like hyped up on caffeine and beta alanine and everything, and like while you can train through your limits, like your body might not be able to tolerate everything that you're doing in training. But caffeine is definitely something that is key. One thing I was reading about this week as well, Paudie, is caffeine tolerance is a real thing. I really didn't read enough about that before. Like I would have been having my 2 or 3 coffees a day, and I didn't realize that like my tolerance for caffeine was going down. So I had to do a bit of a detox this week. And at times they're actually tough without caffeine. Like you miss your morning coffees and your flat whites. Like what would be your go-to coffee now, Paudie, that we're talking about that?
I honestly don't. Well, if I was going to a cafe, I would get a flat white. But I've actually been off coffee for the last, I'd say, 4 or 5 weeks. I just decided to cut it out and see how I feel from it. I did feel kind of few, I suppose you could say, symptoms or drawbacks for the first few days. I was craving it, and I did feel a bit tired. But now that I'm off it for so long, I actually feel okay. I don't know, am I actually even going to ever drink coffee again? Like, that's probably going to upset you now. Like, I know you love coffee. I do love coffee as well, but like, it's not something I miss. Like, even say, like, I by no means an alcoholic, but I do like a drink as well. And back in college, of course, if you'd be drinking every week, like, you're not going to want to just completely cut it out. But I haven't drank now in months. Of course, like, it's the social side as well, and I don't miss it. So it's the same with coffee, really. Like, it's great, and I know it does give you a good buzz and everything, but I haven't had it in so long that I don't.
Maybe I'm just not far enough removed from using it all the time, but I would be lost without coffee, Paudie. It's not even just the energy it gives me, it's the taste and everything. Like, there's so many good days spent in the cafe. Coffee is firmly in my routine anyway, even though I'm trying to reduce it a small bit at the moment. But one thing there as well with the likes of the flat whites and the lattes, I didn't actually know this as well. If you're having like milk in your coffee with like a latte or a flat white, your caffeine like absorbs a lot quicker, but you can have like a caffeine spike. So that's great for performance, but then your caffeine drops very quickly. So that also causes like a big drop in your energy compared to having like an Americano or an espresso. So it's something to consider for anyone out there working in an office, getting your morning coffee in. Try go without milk and your energy is going to be a lot more sustained. Once we were talking about omega-3, actually, Paudie, I had a look online on Whey Protein and I put the supplements in rank order from the most popular to the least popular. And CLA was like the 4th most popular supplement. And what that is basically is omega-6 fatty acids. I think that's a complete waste of money, if I'm being honest. Most people won't need supplement with that. I know we didn't discuss that originally in pre-production, but like omega-6, like, it sounds very important, and it is very important, but we get so much of that in our diet. It's in like so many spreads and stuff that we have that it's not saying you need to supplement with, so just save your money. Like I wouldn't even consider looking at that. Which you were talking about, the like different components of the pre-workout, I would say beta alanine is something that can be quite useful as long as you don't take too much of it. I think many of us have probably been on that side where you get the pins and needles in your face. It's not very pleasant. Wouldn't recommend to a friend. But it's definitely something that can be very useful in your training, especially if you're a middle distance athlete like myself. Like if you're training from periods from like 2 to 4 minutes long, I think that's when you get the optimum benefit out of beta alanine. Very small benefit, like there's still a lot more research needed, but it's something that I think can be useful. But with the likes of L-carnitine, I'm not sure if you supplemented with that yourself, Paudie. I would say it's a waste of money, being honest. I was very much sold on the idea of it for a while, but like any studies I've read so far, like have shown that like carnitine basically, for any of you who don't know, is like this amino acid that can help to transport fatty acids to your body to be broken down into energy. So the theory behind it is that like, yeah, if you're taking L-carnitine, it's something that's going to help your body burn a lot more fat, but it actually doesn't help with weight loss or fat loss whatsoever. It can help a small bit in like marathon exercise and like ultra endurance exercise from the point that like you're going to utilize fatty acids better. But it is a waste of money for the most part. I don't think supplementation has been shown to improve your carnitine levels either. So I just say, again, save your money. Don't even bother with that. What were your thoughts on iron?
Well, you were telling me a bit about that as well, but I do supplement with iron. I don't know, do I have an iron deficiency or not? Like, I never felt like I was lacking in iron, but I just took it because I saw there was such a hype about it, for energy now and everything. Like, I know iron deficiencies, you'd be tired or, losing focus or whatever. So I did take that. I put it in useful tier again, because I'm not sure is it essential to have it, and I didn't think it was a waste of money either. You know a lot more about iron than me too, but I do take it every day because I don't even know what foods exactly have iron. I'm getting.
Yeah, so with iron, you can find it quite a bit in your diet. Like it would be mainly in red meat, but like if you're looking at plant-based sources, they don't absorb as well either. So that would be the likes of like spinach and broccoli and your green veg. But as Paudie was saying there, like it's not saying you need to supplement if you haven't been diagnosed with like a deficiency. Really, it can be quite harmful to supplement it if you weren't deficient in it, because you can get iron overload too. But again, it's not a waste of money. If you need an iron supplement, you need an iron supplement, especially with endurance athletes. I've been on that side many times where you're just fatigued the whole day, and then I'd get that blood test and realize my iron was low. Once you'd be taking it, your training would be back on track once again. And it's so common with like female athletes, and not even just athletes, with women in general, just because like a lot of blood is lost in the menstrual cycle too. You need to look at like supplementing with iron as well. For any of the female listeners out there, I'd really recommend looking at the likes of folic acid as well, just because it can help to prevent birth defects and neural tube defects in after pregnancy, which can be quite common in those that are deficient in folic acid. So it's definitely something to look for. And I would say in that context that it would be essential. Obviously, like folic acid supplementation wouldn't be essential for any of the males out there, but it's something to look at. With the likes of multivitamins then, Paudie, would you take a multivitamin yourself? What are your thoughts on that?
Not anymore. I used to, but I've put that in the waste of money. I do think that, like, I've seen at the back, like when I was reading the multivitamin tablets, like a lot of them have way more than 100% of your recommended daily dose, and a lot of stuff, like I saw some stuff there have like 150% or even like 225% of your recommended dose, and like more than, or like 200% of anything isn't good if you're eating double the amount that you should. And as well, like a lot of them, like the vitamins and minerals in the multivitamins are in a lot of foods. So I've stopped taking those. I guess they could be useful, but I did put them in waste of money, just because I think that, like, you get it, like, of course it's not like a magic pill either. Like, you should be getting a lot of your your vitamins and minerals from foods and stuff. As well, like I just think like it is good for, I suppose, vegans and vegetarians, like plant-based athletes. A lot of foods that they're eating might lack in some vitamins, like that you could get from meat or fish. So, like I did put it, it could be considered useful in that sense, but I have it.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. Like multivitamins can be painted in this great way that like they're just going to help transform your energy and stuff, but really it's just if you are deficient in anything, they're going to pick up on that. But it doesn't make up for like any discrepancies in your diet or anything. But yeah, there's nothing too special with the multivitamins really. I would say a lot of cases they are a waste of money because they are quite expensive. Like if you're looking at like just taking the likes of like say a cheap multivitamin that you get from the likes of Aldi and Centra or whatever, they're going to do the trick. But one thing you were saying there, Paudie, which I found quite interesting, was when you were talking about like the fact that multivitamins would have 200 or 300% of certain vitamins in them. So I used to wonder about that when I was younger too. Like, was I going to be at risk of like having too much of the vitamins then? See, where that actually comes down is if you're taking like these vitamins in a multivitamin, they don't actually absorb as well as if you're getting them from food. So they do need to just put in that extra bit because your body doesn't absorb most of it. So that's something to look out for too. Again, with a supplement, you're just making up for anything that you're not getting in your diet. I think we've covered the big ones there, Paudie. CBD.
Yeah, that's all the ones I had now.
CBD on your list?
Yeah, I had CBD. I was looking to swap it into it. Like, again, I have that in waste of money. I don't know enough about it. Like, I've seen a good few athletes now that take CBD oil, and I did see a few who, like, you know, they do up it a lot and talk about all the benefits. But then as well, there's some athletes that I would trust, I suppose. Like, obviously I don't know them personally now, they're just like YouTubers and Instagrammers and stuff, but I feel like just with stuff they've accomplished, I do have some form of like trust in them as athletes to tell me right from wrong, and they do say that there is no point in CBD oil. I know it like relaxes you and it's good for recovery and everything, but I think there's far better like natural remedies for recovery than CBD.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head really there. I don't think there's much more I can add. Like, CBD oil is so expensive for what you really get from it, and again, it's something that like so many athletes just have endorsement deals that they're pushing it. Like, there's nothing magical with it really. It can help relax you, help reduce inflammation and stress in the body, but it's nothing significant that it's going to help transform your recovery or performance, not that we know of. Like, no studies have really shown that yet. So I'd agree with Paudie. I'd pop that into the waste of money tier. In terms, we have like one or two supplements left there. It's mainly zinc and magnesium. So with zinc and magnesium, like, I've often heard of people taking magnesium before sleep, and there's not a massive need for it because like most people will get enough magnesium in their diet. But basically, the logic behind taking magnesium before you go to sleep is that it helps to relax your parasympathetic nervous system, which is basically helping to relax your muscles, helps relax your mind a small bit as well. So it just makes it easier to fall asleep. So it has been shown to increase your sleep quality slightly too, but there's no outward need to supplement it before you go to bed. I would think it is a bit of a waste of money with a magnesium supplement unless you're deficient in magnesium as well. And most people you'll find aren't deficient in magnesium. With zinc as well, that's something that like the plant-based athletes might want to take a look at. You mainly just get it from meat. Zinc plays an important role in like immune function and reducing symptoms of colds. And again, zinc actually with magnesium, they were both linked to testosterone. They're both heavily associated with it. Not sure if you looked at ZMA supplements there, Paudie, but it's basically zinc and magnesium. There's a lot of hype around them. There's been no studies showing that taking zinc or magnesium is going to increase your testosterone levels. Unless you were deficient in zinc and magnesium already, that's the only time it's been shown to work. So again, just make sure you're getting enough of these minerals and vitamins in your diet, and you won't need to supplement. I think we've covered everything we really need to cover there. Like, I have a few more supplements here, Paudie, but like the likes of vitamin C and stuff, like, I don't think we need to talk about them too much. Like, they can be useful, but most people don't need to supplement with it. Is there anything you want to add?
No, just with the other supplements. I think the other ones we have left, like I have them all in useful, like vitamin C. Now I know it can be classed as useful, but again, it does depend if you're not getting enough from your diet or not. I don't have any other supplements there now.
Yeah, I
That's
think
all
I
of them.
might have thrown down probiotics, and it's something that we might get into in the future. Like with probiotics, it's something that you don't really need to supplement all the time. It's only if you're like getting symptoms where your gut is in stress that you might need probiotics. But again, you can get them from foods, you can get them from kefir and like the likes of sauerkraut and fermented foods. Something we'll look into in the future. It's not something I can really make too much of a judgment on myself yet, but I would say they can be useful. I wouldn't say they're essential. I wouldn't say they're GOAT tier. I think we can agree creatine seemed to be the GOAT in this sort of round, and
Yeah.
caffeine's not too far behind, but it's not really a supplement. I'm just sad that Paudie's not drinking coffee anymore. But I think we can wrap it up. Thanks everyone that's gotten this far and who's listened to this long. It's been a bit of a longer episode, but hopefully you all enjoyed. Is there anything you want to say before we go, Paudie?
No, enjoy the week now. I suppose this won't be going out till next Friday again, but enjoy the week of beach and stuff with the 5K lifted. Have a great, safe week, and as well, listen to Dave's.
Oh yeah, we have to touch on that, lads. We made a big prediction last week. Paudie got it right. We said Dave wouldn't drop on Friday because of the podcast. We'd drop on Saturday, and look at that. I'm telling you, this podcast, nothing but facts. But yeah, I agree with Paudie there. Make the most of the week ahead, I suppose, and thanks for listening. Best of luck.